Hi guys, welcome back to Love English. Today is a lesson that you might think you've seen 100 times before. However, what I have tried to do in this lesson is actually help you correct your mispronunciations, not by asking you to copy and repeat, but by explaining why you make these mistakes in English pronunciation. There are so many reasons why you might mispronounce a word in English. If you understand why, then hopefully you'll be able to study and learn better to correct your pronunciation mistakes, with or without a teacher. Now, before we begin, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you click that button below. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Make sure to find us there and leave some comments. We might even follow you back. These are the 10 reasons why you mispronounce English words and how you can correct your pronunciation. You might want to grab a pen and paper to take notes. Let's go. Okay, number one. This is probably going to be the most difficult thing to comprehend. English is not a phonetic language. What does that mean? Well, basically, if you haven't already realized it, the way a word is written is rarely the way it is pronounced in English. That does not make pronunciation easy, and it also means that spelling can be quite difficult. Even I spell things wrong sometimes. So when I say English is not a phonetic language, I think I need to give you an example. O-U-G-H. These four letters often appear in many words in the English language. However, they are rarely pronounced the same. Let's look at some examples. Though, though. Though as in go. Though I was tired, meaning however. Through, through as in you. I went through the tunnel. I went through the tunnel. Cough, cough, cough as in off. I coughed. Rough, rough as in suffer. Suff, rough. So the texture of something. Rough is the opposite of smooth. Plow, plow, plow as in flower. Ow, plow. He plowed the field to dig up the earth to be able to plant vegetables, seeds, I don't know, something like that. Ought, ought. Or as in horse or saw. You ought to do your homework. So ought meaning should in this case. You ought to do your homework. Borough as in above. Borough. Above. Oh my goodness. So you can see there that we've got four letters and I don't know how many different sounds. English is not phonetic. You cannot learn to pronounce English just by reading. As a native speaker, the way I learned English was to listen. So I listened and I understood the sounds in English before I could read them. As a non-native speaker, English is your second, maybe even third or fourth language. That means that you've learnt to read English before you can speak English, which means that the letters you see don't always correspond with the sounds you think they make. Now, I said that I was going to help you correct your pronunciation. One way you could do this is by learning the phonemic chart. It looks like this. Now, it probably looks like a whole other language, and when I started to learn it as a teacher, I was a bit terrified. However, once you understand the basics of the phonemic chart, you will definitely be able to decipher the different pronunciations of words. So, something you really need to think about. If you look in the description, I'm going to put some links to the phonemic chart and apps that you could potentially download to help you learn it. Now, number two is going to come as a bit of a shock. English doesn't really exist. In fact, English is a combination of so many different languages. Over hundreds of years, English has evolved and it comes from many different languages combined together. We've got Anglo-Saxon, French, Spanish, Italian, Swedish, Greek. And of course, Old English is actually Germanic in its origins. What this means, and it kind of connects back to number 1, is that we have a variation of spellings in the English language and many different words that really don't follow the same pattern as each other because they are from different languages. If we take, for example, some Greek words in English, so we've got psychology, sociology. These ology words, with the P-S-Y, originate from the Greek language, and this is the Greek spelling. So this doesn't match with anything else in the English language. Then if you look at Italian compared to English, you can see that in English the word photo, P-H-O-T-O, is spelt with a P and an H. This again, Greek in origin, pronounced as f, not p-h or p-h. It's f. And the Latin with an F kind of makes a lot more sense. So look how confusing everything gets. So English is a combination of Anglo-Saxon, Norman French, coming from the 1066 invasion by the French of England, and lots of Latin languages, as well as, I'm sure, a multitude of other languages. So spelling, pronunciation, really confusing. Okay, number 3, the multitude of vowel sounds in the English language. We have 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U. Well, you would think we'd have 5 vowel sounds, but in fact we have 20 vowel sounds. What this means is that you frequently make mistakes with pronunciation because of long, short vowel sounds, because of the diphthongs that we have, so where there's more than one sound within a vowel, like A, ow, O. Commonly though, mistakes are made with long and short vowel sounds. Think about beach, beach, E. Can you see the 2 dots? That means that it's a long sound, beach. What often, especially Italians and Spanish do, is they put a short E and it becomes I. Now, when you do this, instead of getting the word beach, you get the word, that's right, shall I say it? Bitch. The same goes for sheet and shit. Okay, so long and short vowel sounds. Again, how can you avoid this? Look up the word in a dictionary, learn the phonemic alphabet, and basically understand what is long, what is short, and remove that confusion with the vowel sounds. Now, as well as vowels, we have the consonant sounds in English, and they are a combination of voiced and unvoiced. What this means is when they are voiced, if you place your hand or your fingers on your throat, there's a vibration. So for example, b, b, you'll feel your throat vibrate, whereas there is no vibration there. So voiced and unvoiced consonant sounds. There are so many mistakes that you make with these. I can't give you them all now in this lesson, but for example, the combined sound of ch, ch, C and H. Now, ordinarily, we would find church, cheese, choose, H sound. However, because English comes from a multitude of other languages, ch, CH can also be pronounced k, k. So, chemist, k, chemist, or commonly ache. Lots of non-native speakers will pronounce this ch, ache, ache, rather than ache, ache. So there's a k, k sound. Your tongue goes to the back of your throat, whereas with ch, ch, the tongue goes up and more to the front. So, confusing consonant sounds. Now, as well as consonant sounds being difficult, we also have something called consonant clusters. Now, a cluster is basically where lots of something get together. So, a consonant cluster is where you have lots of consonant sounds all together. And it can be problematic when it comes to actually making the correct position of the tongue, the teeth, the lips, the jaw to produce these consonant clusters. An example would be crisps, crisps. So we've got a p and a s double s there actually, crisps, as well as having the k and the r, crisps. Whew. Now, not just that, we've got examples like sixth, sixth. Okay, so we've got a k and a th and a I. The vowel sound is not so much of the problem there. It's when we have the k and the th together. So sick. Your tongue goes to the back. You need to make this funny face. Your tongue goes to the back. And then sick. So, I don't know. Maybe we need to work on a lesson just on consonant clusters. So that's another very good reason that you would make pronunciation mistakes. Okay, number 6. So, this is common whether you are learning English, Italian, Spanish, Chinese, German, Arabic. There are different sounds in languages and sounds that you are not familiar with hearing or with pronouncing, and this is where it really becomes a problem. So for example, in Italian there is, and I'm sure Italians you're going to tell me off for saying this wrong, gli. Now I'm trying my best to pronounce it, but we do not have this sound in the English language. So for me, it's not just a case of hearing the sound, but it's also a case of being able to recognize where my tongue needs to be placed, where my lips need to move, how my jaw needs to be positioned in order to make the sound. So if we look at some example languages, when it comes to learning English, the v and w sounds are often confused for Arabic speakers, Turkish speakers, Eastern European speakers, w and v, and even Thai speakers. I've got some lovely Thai students at the moment, hello, and they are struggling with exactly these sounds. So, w and v. Of course, as well for Chinese, Japanese, Thai speakers, you've got l, and r. L, long, lorry, load, lovely, and r. Run, really, ready. So what you often hear them say is lice instead of rice, or pray instead of play. So, and again, consonant clusters can make this even more confusing. With w and v, you often hear problems like worry, I'm very tired, or video instead of video. So, what else have we got? For Italians, it's th, and h. You don't have these sounds. So to get an Italian to do this, th, think, through, 30. Have fun with that, Italians. I already try with my boyfriend. And of course, h. It's not in Italian, so often they would say I'm angry or hangry instead of hungry. It's a real problem, guys. For Arabic speakers, you've got p and b, p and b. Again, I barked the car. Bark means woof woof, the sound a dog makes, rather than park the car. And this also causes problems with spelling as well. So what can you do? Well, I will put some links to the problem sounds that you have in your language. You need to study, you need to learn, and then you need to practice those sounds. If you know as a Turkish, Eastern European, even Farsi speaking, Indian speaking student that w and v can be a problem, you need to practice very video. How you can do that is by looking in the mirror, looking at the shape of your mouth and imitating a native speaker. You have to imagine that you are going to the gym. The muscles in your mouth need to gain that memory to understand where the tongue, the lips, the jaw, the teeth need to go in order to make the sound correctly. You will only learn by practicing, just as you will only gain muscle by going to the gym and doing those exercises. Not that that's something I know about. Okay, number 7, and I'm sure many of you have mispronounced these words. Almond. Here we've got a silent L, although in American English they do say almond, so Depends if you want to pronounce it the American way or the British way. Otherwise, almond. Another very good example is salmon. Salmon, it's not salmon or salmone as it would be in Italian, but salmon. We've got the silent K before N. No, new, knee, knackered, not naked, knackered. Okay, so it's not knackered or knee or kno or knowledge. K and N, silent K. You've got a silent W before R, wrong, right. Then you've got a silent B after M. So it's not plumber, it's plumber. It's not climb, it's climb. It's not bomb, it's bomb. Silent B after M. And of course you've got other words like February, February. There's an R there. It's not pronounced, it's not February, it's February. So there are some rules to practice these silent letters, but really what I would recommend is being an active listener. In order to be a good speaker and to improve your pronunciation, you really need to listen for these words. However, keep watching and I'm sure we'll be having a lesson on silent letters very soon. Silent letters and silent syllables. Evaporating syllables, disappearing syllables, whatever you want to call it. Now, in English, a syllable is basically the number of sounds you have in a word. I often do it, I'm doing it instinctively, by tapping. So, for example, my name, how many syllables does it have? Leila. 2. Sabrah, Sabrah. Beautiful, beautiful. This word, let's try it together. How many do you think? I'm listening. Some of you got that right. 3 syllables. Comfortable. This word appears everywhere when it comes to mispronounced English words. It is one of the most commonly mispronounced words. It's not a disaster. I can understand you when you say comfortable, but it sounds funny and it's very obvious that you're a non-native speaker. So comfortable and vegetable is the other one. 3 syllables. Other examples are chocolate, chocolate, not chocolate. Business, business, not busyness or buzziness. That syllable, the I, it's not there. It's vanished. Naturally, naturally, not naturally, naturally. Okay, so how do you correct this? Well, exactly the same, using a good dictionary. Now, many dictionary apps already contain a sound option where you can actually press and hear the word being pronounced, whether it's British or American pronunciation, or they will contain the phonemic sound. It will look like this. So comfortable will look like this, and vegetable will look like this. So, disappearing syllables. Make sure you know how many there are in a word. Talking about syllables, and we are nearly there, number 9. Syllable stress. Now, well, in English, what we have with each word is we have a stressed sound. So, for example, my name, Leila, Leila, the stress is on the first sound, Leila. We can't say Leila, Leila, sounds very odd. The same, let's have a look at some examples. So, beautiful, beautiful. If you're not sure where the stress is, try and put it on another syllable. You should instinctively hear that it doesn't sound quite right. So, beautiful, the first, fine. But let's try it on another syllable. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Just sounds strange. So where this can actually cause a problem are on words like this. They're almost homophones if it wasn't for the fact of the change in the syllable stress. So desert, desert, the stress is on the first syllable. If you say dessert, dessert, then you're talking about the Sahara. Desert, pudding, chocolate cake, ice cream. Dessert, desert, the Sahara. I would rather eat a dessert than a desert. That would be very dry. Now this can be really important when it comes to nouns and verbs that have the same spelling and same pronunciation. If we take, for example, the word research, or is it research? Okay, import, or is it import? Import. Wow. Yeah. So the noun and the verb of these words, where it is a noun, research, research. Can you hear that? Research. That is a noun. I did some research. If it is a verb, the stress is on the second syllable. Research, research. Can you hear the difference? It's subtle, but it will help you sound a lot more natural. There are also some words, depending on the form of the word, whether it is the noun, the adjective, the adverb, the verb, the stress can change. So, a very good example of a mistake you would often make is photograph. Photograph. Stress is on the first syllable. What about this word? Photographer. Photographer. So the stress is on the second. It's actually on tog. Photographer. Okay, now I want to help you get this right, and if some of you do use an English dictionary, you will notice that when you look at a word in the dictionary, not only do you have the phonemes, but you also have this strange apostrophe hanging around the top. And that apostrophe might come at the beginning, it might come in the middle, it might come towards the end. What this is about is syllable stress. So if you didn't know before, you know now. Where the apostrophe goes, the following syllable is the stressed syllable. Finally, number 10, and I am quite tired now. I think I need a coffee. Number 10 is L1 interference. L1 means your first language. So in some languages, especially those that are closely connected to English, like Latin-based languages, we share vocabulary. Now, an example that I know is cousin, cousin. So this is a family member. It would be the child of your aunt or uncle, the child of your aunt or uncle. So it's your cousin. Now, in Italian, it is cugina or cugino. Okay, masculine and feminine. We don't have masculine and feminine in English, which is quite nice, but in Italian it's cugino. Now, this means that sometimes I've heard Italians pronounce this word cousin, cousin, instead of cousin. So I would say this is more of a problem for those who speak languages that have close relations with English. Make sure that if you have a similar word in your language and the spelling looks quite similar, check the pronunciation, because I'm pretty sure it would be different. I hope that has been helpful. Click in the description below and I'm going to put lots of links to help you guys do extra study, find out what sounds in English are difficult for you because of your first language and the sounds that you don't have already, to give you some practice. But my biggest tip would be to download a good dictionary app. Do not translate all the time, guys. It's not going to help you to understand the vocabulary, to build your reading skills, to improve your English. Download a really good English dictionary app like Oxford Dictionary or Collins Dictionary and use it. It will help you. Don't forget to learn the phonemic chart as well. I can't recommend it highly enough. It has helped me become a better teacher and it has helped me explain pronunciation to thousands of students by now, I would imagine. So please comment down below on YouTube and let me know what words you find really difficult to say in English. I would love to make a part 2 for you guys, and maybe I can correct your pronunciation more then. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and as I said before, comment below. Take care and happy learning.